This just in, for those of us watching the end times peace agreement that has to take place, Daniel 9:27 says that there will be a peace agreement that takes place. It will end up being, this has not been announced yet, but there will be a peace agreement that has to do with many nations over in the Middle East. It will end up being, we don't have this announcement just yet, but it will end up being, at least in relation to Israel, it will be 7 years long. This channel has focused on for years what that 7 years is all about. So we were watching for a peace agreement. This is a monumental, historical peace agreement that is going to take place with many different nations. And so this would be the final peace agreement after many different sort of peace agreements and ceasefires that there's wars going on all around. And people don't know about it because you're not paying attention. That's not the news that you get. But there are skirmishes and fights and death going on with many different nations. Trump is now stopping them all, and eventually he will bring them all into one final accord. And they're going to try this out for 7 years. We're not there yet, but it's coming. The reason this matters is because there is a very long timeline in the Bible, which I won't go into, but these final 7 years precede the return of the Son of God, Jesus Christ, returning to Jerusalem to be their judge and king for 1,000 years. It's called the day of the Lord, as a day with God, a day with the Lord, is 1,000 years long, as it says in Peter. Paul calls it the day of Christ. So this final 7 years, which begins with a peace agreement, will end, and then Jesus Christ will be king of Israel for 1,000 years on this earth. So it's a big deal. So we should be watching for this final 7 years because it's the precedent for the return of Jesus Christ. I'm about to show you a clip of Donald Trump answering questions from reporters today, and the reporters' questions are always centered around a peace agreement with Israel, because that's really what this is all about. There are a lot of skirmishes all around. Those also have to be stopped, of course, for world peace, but in the end, it all has to do with Israel. Israel is the biblical center point of it all. This is breaking news just 23 minutes ago. Donald Trump says on Truth Social, just spoke to the acting Prime Minister of Thailand and Prime Minister of Cambodia. I am pleased to announce that after the involvement of President Donald J. Trump, both countries have reached a ceasefire and peace. Congratulations to all. By ending this war, we have saved thousands of lives. I have instructed my trade team to restart negotiations on trade. I have now ended many wars in just 6 months. In 2025, I am proud to be the president of peace. If I weren't around, you'd have, right now, 6 major wars going on. Let's listen to this.
Yeah, a ceasefire is possible, but you have to get it. You have to end it. You're talking about with Israel's. You're talking about there, because we have many ceasefires going on. The whole world is. If I weren't around, you'd have right now 6 major wars going on. India would be fighting with Pakistan. You see what we just did yesterday with 2 nations that we're trading with. And during the trade, I said, I'm not going to do any trade deal unless you guys settle your differences. And we got it settled in 24 hours. I mean, they just announced it was settled, which was a tremendous thing. But Serbia, Kosovo is another one. We have many hotspots that were at war. I think a very big one was India and Pakistan, because you're talking about 2 nuclear nations. That was a very big one. And we get help from the UK. The Prime Minister's helped. We have cases where we specifically need the help because somebody comes from here that you're aware of. And, you know, when you come from a country, you can do things. And I call up the Prime Minister, and all of a sudden, he's able to do things. True also with other presidents and prime ministers. But we've done it. Nobody's ever done what we've done. We have 6 different major if you take a look at Rwanda and the Congo, Republic of the Congo, they've been fighting for 31 years, 8 million people dead. It was going on. Nobody could go to that part of Africa. They were being killed. If to even walk there, you're being killed with machetes. And it was a violent situation. And I was able to, they liked Trump. They wanted to make a trade deal with Trump. They wanted us to take their rare earth. They want to give us their rare earth. And I got to know the leader of the Congo. I got to know both of them indirectly. And I called him. I said, let's end the war. I don't want anything until you end the war. And we ended the war. As you know, the foreign ministers came up 2 weeks ago, and the leaders are going to be coming very shortly to Washington, Rwanda and Congo. I mean, that's another one that we did. So we've done a lot. It's an honor to do it. It's not hard for me to do it. And I use, not in all cases, but I use a combination of knowing them a little bit, or in some cases, knowing them a lot.
So he says, if I weren't around, you'd have right now 6 major wars going on. This is the peace present. No one has been able to do what Donald Trump has been able to do. So this is breaking news, not even a half an hour old. The ceasefires continue and the wars continue to stop. Peace and safety is on its way. The reason why peace and safety is important is because that's the beginning of this 7 years. It's going to be 7 years long. Now, it will not hold for 7 years of peace. In Daniel 9:27, it says that in the midst of the week, then basically that peace agreement, it ends, it fails. So it's 3.5 years of peace, but then it goes into a time of trouble for Israel for the next 3.5 years. But Paul says in 1 Thessalonians 5:2, he says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. The day of the Lord is the reign of Christ for 1,000 years. A day with the Lord is 1,000 years, the apostles say. And so the day of the Lord is that final day. It's 1,000 years. To him, it's just a day long. It's a day. And so, but then he gives clues. Paul gives clues. In the next verse, he says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And he's talking about Jerusalem is going to say peace and safety. Jerusalem is going to have peace and safety. It's not just saying something or a news headline or a magazine article. It's literally the government of Israel has and confirms a peace agreement, a covenant of peace. And at that point, Paul had previously talked about they have to go through tribulation. Jerusalem has to go through tribulation. Okay, and so that's really what he's saying. And he's saying basically that this tribulation happens right after they say there's going to be peace and safety in Jerusalem. Then there will come a time of trouble for Jerusalem, and then after that time of trouble, that's when the kingdom comes, the day of the Lord, when Jesus Christ returns. So first it's peace, and then it's trouble, and then it's 1,000 years of a kingdom. That's all it is. Peace agreement first. That peace agreement is broken halfway through the 7 years. So the final 3.5 years is a time of trouble in Jerusalem for the Israelites. And then Jesus returns and he becomes the king of Jerusalem. And he is the Prince of Peace and will bring an actual peace that will stay for 1,000 years to Jerusalem. He will also then be influencing the rest of the nations for that 1,000 years about how to bring peace to all nations. So at that point, Jerusalem will then become, as prophesied, a blessing to all nations. So that's our future. That's what's happening. You're living in it. It's about to happen. I truly believe this. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the other side.